Well, hello, friends on YouTube. Nathan Lawrence here, coming to you from the museum of my man cave / office here in Northwest Oregon. So, have we got a treat for you on this upcoming video? I've just returned from about an 8,000 mile trip from Antarctica. I'm wearing my hat that I got in the Falkland Islands where we viewed penguins, and I'm wearing my penguin sweater that I got in, where did I get this? We've been so many places. Punta Arenas, Chile. This is alpaca. It's got penguins on it. And this video takes you to the Falkland Islands where we look at penguins, and then we take you another almost 800 miles, about 8,300 miles from Oregon down to actually Antarctica, where again, in this video, you're going to see penguins porpoising through the water. You're going to see whales spouting. You're going to see pods of killer whales, orcas. So stay tuned and buckle your seatbelts. All right, this first video is from the Falkland Islands in the South Pacific off the Argentina coast. And these are Gen 2 penguins coming in and out of the surf and on their way to the rookery, where you will see both Gen 2 and king penguins. So these funny little guys are sunning themselves off and preening themselves and getting ready to head up about a quarter of a mile inland to where the rookery is. There's two groups of penguins right near each other, two different types of penguins. Here you see what the treeless landscape of the Falkland Islands looks like. And there's the rookery of the penguins. And here's some of the plant life that lives on the beach. There aren't a lot of plants that grow in the Falkland Islands. It's too windy, and so there's no native trees that grow here. But there are some pretty flowers that grow along the beach and then grow up in the rocks and in the mountains around the islands. And here's some of the short grass, the grass that grows along the beach. It's very short. It kind of resembles the grass on a putting green of a golf course. And here is one of the two penguin rookeries just off the beach. And you can see how far they have to walk to get down to the ocean. It's probably a good quarter of a mile across the sand and over that sand dune and down to the beach. And you see some penguins out there as they're kind of coming and going from that area. It looks like the seagull is trying to show the befuddled penguin the way to the rookery, and the penguin's going to follow him there. And so here he is, this Gen 2 penguin, trying to figure out which way to go. So he's just spent probably a few days or weeks out in the ocean, going hundreds and hundreds of miles swimming, and found his way back to the beach, but he can't find his way to his wife or husband, whatever the case may be, back in the rookery. It's kind of funny. Well, it looks like he finally got back to his kin, and now he's looking for his wife and maybe some of the babies. There's a bunch of little guys. Those little penguins are about 5 months old, and here he is still wandering around trying to figure out which one is his. They're funny creatures. They waddle around, and we just could watch them for hours. So as you're about to see, there's an adult regurgitating fish and feeding one of his youngsters. And so the adults go out and fish, and then they come back and they feed their babies in this way. It's very sweet to watch. Of course, when you're a growing kid, you never can get enough food. So this fledgling's running after, I don't know if it's dad or mom, and he won't let him go. And here's some babies playing in the mud. You know, when you're just standing out there in the mud mixed with guano, it's pretty boring life. So here these fledglings, these 5-month-old fledglings are just like any young kid, they found a mud puddle and they're having fun looking at their reflection in the mud puddle. And this one is going to gather a bunch of others together, and they're all going to, hey, what's going on there? Oh, look at, hey, is that what I look like? Oh, what do you know? It was very amusing to watch these guys. So as you can see, life for a penguin can be a little bit boring in the penguin colony. You're just sitting there for months at a time, sitting on your egg, raising your babies. So playing in the mud and preening yourself is one of the activities that they do to keep themselves busy. And then this guy, he's looking for a rock. I don't know if it's a rock or a piece of penguin guano. And so he found one he likes. And so what's he going to do with it? I was curious. He didn't like that one. He dropped it. He didn't like that one. He dropped it. And he found one he liked. So what's he going to do? He's going to waddle over about 3 or 4 feet and drop it down in another spot. And I guess that was his amusement for the day. You got to wonder what's going on in their heads. You look at the look on his face, he looks pretty happy. Like he's contented. He just accomplished some major thing for the day, and now he's standing there pretty proud of himself in his penguin tuxedo. While the rest of them are all preening themselves. They do a lot of preening because they got to keep their feathers well oiled, so when they jump in the water, their feathers will repel the water and they'll stay warm. So a couple hundred feet away from the Gen 2 penguin colony is the king penguin colony. The king penguins have orange on their heads. So this Gen 2 penguin just waddled his way through the king penguin colony as he's heading to the beach, probably a little hungry. So he's off to do some fishing. So these king penguins, these are all males. The ladies are off in the sea fishing or whatever they're doing, but these guys are the ones that sit on the eggs, and these eggs will hatch in about 5 weeks from now. So each male is sitting on a single egg, and they sit there for months until the egg hatches, and there isn't much to do. So they're sitting there like in their tuxedos, preening themselves, making funny faces, looking at each other, pecking, kind of poking at each other, and just hanging out. A beautiful day. One of the more beautiful days that you can experience on the Falkland Islands. It was about 50 degrees, a little wind blowing, and it was about as warm as it gets in the summertime on the Falkland Islands. So a little penguin interaction going on there, a little interpersonal communication. You can only wonder what they must be thinking and how they're communicating and what they're trying to convey to one another as they're making these funny faces at each other and pecking and interacting. So we're back to this baby Gen 2 penguin who didn't get his fill at lunchtime, and he's going after, I don't know if his dad or mom, and begging for more food. You know, a hungry teenager, you can never fill them up. We have just traveled about 800 miles southwest of the Falkland Islands into the Antarctic. And there are no words to describe the splendor, the majesty, the sublimity of this vast winter wonderland. I have never seen more beautiful scenery in all the countries and all the continents that I have visited, and all the mountains and landscapes and the glaciers that I have climbed, traversed on, skied, backpacked in. Nothing compares to this. And the waters of the Antarctic are teeming with all kinds of wildlife, many varieties of penguins, various varieties of whales, dolphins, killer whales, orcas, sea lions, seals. This is because the waters are rich with the food that these animals thrive on. Plankton, phytoplanktons, krill, shrimps, and fish of all kinds. Again, there are no words to describe the beauty, so we'll let the pictures speak for themselves. Here we see penguins leaping or porpoising through the water. It's very amusing to watch, and they're very fast. In the Antarctic, there is beauty in every direction, from the clouds, the sun, through the clouds, to the tops of the mountains, the rocks, down through the snowfields and the glaciers and the avalanches. In every direction, down to the sea, the reflection of the light on the sea, the rippling of the waves, the color of the sea, the icebergs. It's a gallery of God's art, God's artistry that is unparalleled in any museum anywhere that you can possibly name. Penguins are powerful swimmers. They can leap 6, 8, 10, 12 feet, and their back legs and their flippers are incredibly powerful. They are very fast swimmers.
Oh, that's so neat. Right from our balcony. Little penguins, tiny little penguins jumping right around the whale.
Whales are to be found everywhere, especially the humpback whales, these 40, 50 foot long and 30, 40 ton animals teeming in these oceans where they come to feed before heading north to the breeding grounds.
So we've got, ooh, yeah, did you hear that? So we've got a humpback right there in the center of the screen, and surrounded by orcas. Of course, the orca there, he just blew. Ooh, beautiful. Now he's diving. Wow. And now there's orcas probably about 300 feet away from him in one area, and some more. Oh, now we've got the orca following the wake of the ship.
And while we were out there filming the humpback whales, suddenly there were 3 orcas that began to playfully follow in the wake of the cruise ship.
They're following the wake
literally
of the ship.
Leaping or breaching out of the water. Time after time after time, we sat on our balconies watching them, awestruck, as they just kept leaping and following the ship.
Wow,
I guess they were playing. Completely. I don't know what they were doing, but they seemed to be having fun. As we watched, mouths open in total amazement.
Oh, there's some more orcas out there. Oh, Sandy, there's like 6 of them. Oh, yeah, 3 out there and another one over here. In the background is a celebrity ship, cruise ship back there. Shows you the backdrop. Okay, there's 4 penguins up there. There's some little penguins on an iceberg about 300 feet away from the ship. Little guys, you can barely see them. Oh, one's about to jump in the water. He just jumped in the water. Oh, right next to the iceberg. How cool. Little miniature. Are these the chin strap? The little tiny guys?
I don't know, maybe.
So while the circus of the Antarctic was performing in ring 1 and 2, in ring 3, suddenly to our amazement, a pod of orcas began to go after a lone penguin.
They're going after, yeah, penguins, yeah.
Yeah, see, they're going after.
They're going after penguins. Orcas going after penguins. Wow. Those are 2 orcas going after some little penguins. Now they're coming back. Little penguins, tiny little penguins jumping right around the whale.
Trying to get away.
Probably trying to get a whale, but this is... Whoa.
Run into the side, buddy.
I got him
You
on
on
film.
video?
Yeah.
Good.
At least part of it. Wow. He's going under the boat.
Wow. I hope you enjoyed that. That was just a small taste, a tiny sampling of what we experienced 4 days cruising around in the waters of the Antarctic. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for more videos on this channel about our travels in the Antarctic. We just sit here on our deck, look out the window from our warm cabin, and watch the world float by.
A gigantic iceberg. I think it's the biggest one we've seen yet that has been passing by us as we cruise along. It's probably about at least 150, 200 feet high. I'm guessing about a half a mile long. The thing is huge. At least a third of a mile. It's gigantic.